Good evening, everyone. Welcome to another Unplugged live session. I'm Leonel Rodrigues, and I'm just waiting for time. And we're gonna have another nice chat here today at Portugal Unplugged. And we have Sergio.
Good evening.
Good evening. How are you?
Everything's fine over here. How are
Oh,
things down in
great.
Lisbon?
Yeah, well, feeling great. A lot of good stuff going on. A lot of new stuff being planned. So all on the move.
Amazing. See if we have Gabriel joining us very
Gabriel.
shortly.
Yeah, well, he should be joining in a minute. So, and you, how have you been?
Ah, I'm feeling like I'm taking basically the deep breath before the plunge, before I really get into the peak season over here.
Mm-hmm.
Because it's gonna get crazy. September and October are pretty much fully booked already,
Yeah.
which is a good thing. So I'm gonna have basically 2 weeks towards the end of August when I'm gonna relax. The daycare is gonna be closed, so someone has to stay with the
Oh yeah.
baby. And so we're actually gonna take that opportunity to explore around a little bit and try and
Mhm.
relax. Relax as much as we can with with a year and a half old son.
Yeah.
So that's gonna be the plan. And so September, yeah, it's shaping up to be a really good season. September and October.
Yeah. But curiously, this August, it's already what I can consider quite well composed. So it's busy. I'm gonna take a few days off as well. But it's quite busy. But September and October, very few spots open. Things are moving. So not bad at all. Well, I see Gabriel is trying to
Yeah,
join. I already added him,
yeah,
but seems like we're having here some technical issues as usual. Okay. Ah, I think we have Gabriel already.
yeah. Here he
All right.
is. Amazing.
Good
Good
evening.
evening.
Good evening, guys. Good evening, everyone. It took me a while to.
Oh, you're having
Uh,
some connection issues over there,
yeah.
I think.
Yes, yes. This
Okay, I'll
is
sort it
this
out.
is August. August peak season madness. Everything takes a bit more time. Traffic. People they go for lunch later. We don't sleep at night. Party all night long, and yeah. Welcome to the Algarve in August, in
Well,
July.
yeah, I saw the traffic jams on the news just this weekend. So
There.
yeah, it's yeah.
What did
Well,
you?
I saw the traffic jams on the news this weekend.
Ah,
So
yes, 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 yes. Everyone coming to
to
the
the
Algarve.
Algarve.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Well, good evening, everyone. Welcome again to another Unplugged Live. I'm Leonel Rodrigues from Desirable Portugal Tours. I'm based near Lisbon. Just joined Gabriel Lima, the guy from the Great Live Tours in the Algarve, and Sergio Costa from Portugal EV Tours, Porto and Douro Valley. And we're going to have another, interesting chat with the topics that are just popping up on the news. And one of them, it's pretty close to me. Well, it's not affecting me directly, luckily, because I don't depend 100% on that. But the monuments, the majority of the monuments, not all monuments in Sintra, have been closed. The mountain has been closed to traffic due to the fire hazard risk. In fact, unfortunately, we are having fires in Portugal in other areas. One of the areas that I love, that is the Jerez area, is being heavily affected, unfortunately. But in here in Sintra, every time that we have a fire hazard risk, or very often, the mountain is closed. And for me, knowing the mountain very well, and plenty of the trails that nowadays they are not accessible to vehicles, I know them very well. And I somehow understand what's going on because with all the storm that we had, the storm we had in March, it was terrible. A lot of trees were taken down. The forest, it's not yet closed, not yet cleaned, and won't be cleaned so quickly. And every time we have the fire risk. Well, we get the closure of the roads, and if the roads are closed, the monuments end up being closed. But just two short notes. There are monuments open in Sintra, and in fact, they are really worthy. And most people disregard them, and they really don't know what they're missing. One of them, of course, is Sintra National Palace, one of the oldest royal palaces we have in Portugal. It's very unique inside. It has a cute little garden on the side that it's free access, and it's right in the city center. So it's totally worth to go to Sintra to stroll on the streets. The streets are not closed. The shops are not closed, the bakeries are not closed, and you have the National Palace open. But then, with a beautiful property, with a beautiful garden, and being privately managed, you have the Bicester Palace, and no one talks about the Bicester Palace. Well, now they talk because they are now using that as an alternative, and that is something that kind of uh, uh, well, it makes me a little bit sad that I end up understanding that people are not there just to promote the place itself. They are just there to entertain visitors and pretty much do what everybody wants. And then when those places are closed, oh, well, there's an alternative over there. Now we're going to use the alternative. Sorry, that's not being honest for, well, no one, okay? Because there are alternatives. And in fact, there are people that might enjoy those alternatives, but they don't know about them. They are not being promoted actively by other tour operators. So this is something that, in my opinion, helps to understand the difference. And speaking about the Vista Palace, I've been actively promoting it. And speaking about the Portuguese history, I'll take hands down the National Palace of Sintra because it went through pretty much the whole monarchy in Portugal. So historically, it's a very important landmark. But there's a lot of things to see around there. The public park, Parque da Liberdade, might be closed. I haven't been in Sintra lately, but Parque da Liberdade might be closed. But if by any chance, if it's open, I have my doubts, okay? As I've told, I haven't been in Sintra in the last few days. But if Parque da Liberdade, it's open. It's a beautiful garden to walk right in the middle of the town. That is really worth to have a visit. But people are just canceling. People are just, getting overwhelmed with all the information and all the news that are spread. Kind of everything is closed in Sintra. No, it's not true. But then we have another thing, and this is something that I've been advocating a lot. Around Lisbon, in a roughly half-hour driving distance, we can easily visit 7 or 8 royal palaces. And I'm not talking about private ones, because private ones we have more, but just speaking about royal palaces. So, my 2 cents about this. If the monuments in Sintra are closed, visit Queluz National Palace. It's totally worth it.
Beautiful.
Visit in Lisbon, Ajuda National Palace. That is just amazing. Or, come here to visit Mafra National Palace. That isn't far away from where I live. And it's one of the most impressive Baroque buildings that we have. So, and I'm just speaking about royal palaces because then, by example, I could easily mention in Cascais, the Condes de Castro Guimarães Palace. No one talks about that. It's beautiful. A lot of people go to Cascais, but they just disregard this place that it's quite distinct. And then there's always some, a more kind of a musealized house here and there. Cascais has a few. Lisbon has a few as well. That are like small palaces that are also worth a visit. So having the places closed in Sintra doesn't mean that people cannot go to Sintra. There's a lot to see over there. But if people are really kind of annoyed because they are not going to see that flashy place that they were planning to go, okay, that famous place, there are alternatives. There are plenty of alternatives. And people should be aware of that. And when people are planning their travels, I see a lot of people planning their travels just to almost by the book, by the minute, to go to this or that place. But there's always unforeseen circumstances. There's stuff that happens, okay? It happens to me once in a while. I'm planning to go to this restaurant or that restaurant, and it's closed for vacation. I need to have a plan B. It happens to me once in a while. I'm planning to go to this or that place, but the road is closed for a certain reason, or there is a traffic jam, a bus got stuck, whatever, and we cannot go through. We need to have a plan B. And this is where a local, knowledgeable person is really worthy to solve these issues. That's what makes us tour guides. We know exactly the alternatives that we had. We know exactly the plan Bs that we can do on the fly, and sometimes the guests they don't notice, and we can solve this problem. So I really want people to be aware that not everything is going to go according to the plan, but they need to be prepared for unforeseen circumstances and don't let them that affect their vacation. Kind of, oh, just bummer. Now it's not worth to be here because everything didn't go according to the plan. People really need to understand that, well, plan B sometimes is needed, and we have valuable knowledge that we can share that way. So, just to take my approach, and I know I'm consuming a little bit of time, but just to take my approach on this. Um, from your side, well, either from Gabriel and from Sergio, I also know that you sometimes need to adjust, you sometimes need to
Yeah,
adapt.
of
So,
course.
well, I'm going to send it to you, Sergio, and well, let us know what are your thoughts about this.
Good evening, everyone. So, yeah, I would say that one of the mistakes that people usually do is precisely over planning and
Hmm.
sometimes even down by the minute and not leaving a whole lot of time for either unforeseen circumstances or to be a little bit more spontaneous in their exploration. And this is basically one of the mistakes that I see that whenever we try to fill our schedules with plenty of activities. And we do understand a couple of sessions ago, we actually touched upon the topic of how valuable time over here in Portugal is.
Hmm.
And I understand people wanting to make the most out of it, but sometimes there is also some value, some innate value in precisely leaving a day open for spontaneous things, for spontaneous events, or in the case of a mishap, so that way everything can be shuffled around and rearranged in such a way that you're not losing a whole lot of time. For example,
Let me
for
just
me,
interrupt you with one thing. That
yeah,
empty day can be just the beginning of the plan B to solve issues that didn't go according to the plan.
yeah, exactly. Or it can be something like you're wandering around town, wondering what you're going to do. One of the examples that we had very recently with the airport strikes and whatnot, lots of people who lost their luggages or the luggage got delayed, and so for that
Mhm.
reason, they're kind of stressing out a little bit. Well, for people who are seasoned travelers, they always know that well, you should carry a change of clothes with you on your backpack, basically, to get you through the first day. But over here, Portugal, I mean, you're landing in Porto, you're landing in Lisbon. I would say that 85, 90% of the people land in either one of these two towns. And, well, we're not exactly a third world country. We have plenty of shopping malls.
Mhm.
If you have some room for some spontaneous things and a day open, usually that's the day that people fly in the country. Why not? Well, make just that little bit of extra effort. Your luggage didn't arrive with you. Just go to a shopping mall. And for example, in Porto, you go to Santa Catarina Street. You kill two birds with one stone. You have one of the most beautiful streets in the city, and it's also a commercial street over there. So you're buying from local shops, local merchants. You're supporting the economy that way. You're also valuing your time a little bit more. So it's a win-win for everyone. Well, maybe except for the person who lost their luggage. But I'd like to think that maybe the luggage isn't lost, it's just a little bit
It
delayed.
will show
That's
up.
it. Yeah, eventually, 90+% of the times it will show up. By the way, throw an air tag in your luggage so that way you know where your luggage is. For example, this is for Porto. This is the example that I have for Porto for people who are landing over here with, and it's a very recent example. We have a couple more strikes scheduled, particularly during the month of August. I think it's going to happen every weekend in August. So,
Mhm.
word of caution: be ready for some delays, some mishaps here and there. Might happen, might not happen, but just know that the strike warnings are on and you might be affected. For the Douro Valley specifically, well, I've been seeing a lot of people trying to DIY it. Nothing wrong with that. either by car or by going by train. But if you're going by train, you're going to be a little bit more limited in your options. But by car, if you're planning on hitting winery A, B, or C, and thinking that well, you can just show up and have a wine tasting over there unannounced. Most of the wineries at the valley they don't operate that way, and you're gonna arrive over there. You're gonna feel stressed because you didn't plan ahead. You didn't make a reservation for your tour and your tasting, and then you're gonna wonder, well, where else can I go? What other places? And again, this is the value of a guide. I speak for myself, but I know that you too, Lionel. Well, we've met at the Douro Valley pretty much, so you know the
Mhm.
place very well too. We know which places can accept walk-ins for tour and tastings. Some of the times we actually develop some really good relationships with some of the locations, and we can actually be the ones doing the tours ourselves too in those
Mhm.
locations because the estates they open the doors for us, and we can still have a great time if you're going for restaurant and, for example, some of the most popular vineyards at the valley, I'm talking, for example, Pacheca, which is very known. They often close during the summer on weekends because it's in a state where there's people hosting destination weddings over there. They usually do destination weddings over there. I remember I think it was 2 years ago. I went to Pacheca on the request of a customer that I had, and one of the guides over there told me that even though the month, I don't recall if it was July or August, but the month had basically 31 months, and they did 33 weddings over there on the estate that
Yeah.
month. So yeah, it's a quite a bit popular place, and well, you might be lucky and getting a time slot to go in, or maybe not. And so a lot of people think, well, Pashika is closed. Where am I going to go next for lunch, for a tasting, etc. So yeah, these things happen. I'll give you one example. This one actually happened to me maybe twice already now which is for people who know about the Douro Valley, there's basically one road that I like to call the highway of the valley. The National 222 spans
Mhm.
between Régua and Pinhão for the most important section of the road. And sometimes they close that road because they're hosting, for example, the half marathon of the Douro Valley
For the Grand Fondo.
or the Grand
I
Fondo,
remember being there
precisely.
once with the Grand Fondo happening.
Yeah, so I actually found a very neat way to basically escape those problems. I simply don't accept tours for those days. So
Yeah,
it's
I do that on my calendar. Yes, I
so
do that on my
it's
calendar.
yeah, and well, if I'm not accepting tours for those days, it's going to be for a very specific reason. I've had situations where I had to juggle and go take roads, going between two locations, which usually would take me something like 40 minutes. Because I have to take the back roads, it took me an hour and a half, so tw more than twice as long.
Mhm.
And yeah, it's not a good experience, but what's the alternative? People who go there by themselves, they usually just sit in the traffic, and especially with the heat of the Douro Valley, their cars are idling, they're burning fuel, they're wasting money just idling there to keep the AC running. And sometimes they sit in traffic for 1 hour, 2 hours over there because they don't know the alternatives. Well, there's one needs to be prepared, and I'm not just talking about people who are visiting us, but we ourselves, as the
Oh
tour
yeah.
guides, we have a little bit of this responsibility of having backup plans. And sometimes even our backup plans have backup plans. So
Yeah,
it's not uncommon.
yeah.
And I imagine that it's going to be the same thing for you over there, Gabriel. If one disco is closed, you're going to hit another one.
Yes, yes, of course. We always try our best. We always try our best to provide the best for our guests. Sometimes it's really hard. Sometimes it's impossible. I don't even want to remember, but we had a very harsh winter and spring, so we had lots of storms, and I ended up
Mhm.
canceling. Maybe I don't remember, maybe 4 or 5 tours. But most times we can find alternatives for the issues that show up. I mean, we are dealing with here in the Algarve with the weather, the beaches, the sea condition. I mean, no, the real world is not as perfect as the world we can see on Instagram or Facebook. And many times when we are visualizing our trips, we are imagining how great is going to be our trips, sometimes we don't count that, well, maybe something might happen. For instance, I've been following some videos about Punta Cana, Dominicana, and now it's packed with seaweed. Today, some guides, they sent me a photo. I didn't go there today, but there was lots of seaweed at Camilo Beach, also a few weeks ago here in some beautiful beaches in Albufeira. So sometimes bad things happen or things that change our plans. So we as a travelers, we have to be aware about this. We should have time, and we should have also an open mind, like you very well already said, because sometimes we have to deal with this. I'm going to give you an example. You were talking about the strikes, right? At the airport. I'm going to travel on August 31. So 31. I'm going to Paris, and it's going to be a strike. So maybe I have to deal with this. So I'm already trying to figure out a plan B or a plan C. Well, let's see how it's going to happen. But I'm not gonna. It's not gonna take my sleep. Okay, so I'm going to sleep anyway. But we have to be aware that these things sometimes this happens. Okay, as a professionals, we have also to be prepared. And for instance, I know exactly what's happened throughout the year in the Algarve. Last week, there was 4 days or 5 days that I canceled I didn't cancel, but I blocked all my tours to Faro. Do you know why I blocked all my tours to Faro last week?
Does it the moto gathering
Yeah,
of fun, right?
exactly. So
Yeah.
every single year we have in July 4
Mhm.
days
Mhm.
when we run the second largest motorcycle rally in the world. So during those days from Friday until Sunday, Faro, it's totally insane. It belongs to these motards, the motorcycles. There's festivals, thousands and thousands of motorcycles. So of course, it doesn't make any sense to take people to visit Faro in a day where it looks like a big Coachella of the motorcycles, right? So it doesn't work. So I avoid to go there those days, of course. But sometimes things happen and we are not expecting. For instance, many times when I go to visit the beautiful, the breathtaking West Coast, and okay, you guys, you live by the West Coast, so you know even better how it works, but we have a West Coast here too. And well, sometimes before I go to Sagres, Cape St. Vincent, Carrapateira, Bordeira, Amado, whatever, I always check the mail cam, Amado mail cam,
Mhm.
or Sagres or Bordeira, and I check. And sometimes, well, I barely can see the beach because there's a big mist. So sometimes it happens. So when this happens, I always have to provide my guests with a plan B. First of all, I tell them, there's a big mist there by the Cape. If you want, I will keep going there, no problem. But it's my responsibility to tell you that the conditions of the weather, it's like this. So sometimes they insist and we go anyway, and then we walk on the beach, there's a mist, but they take photos on the rocks, the beautiful colors or whatever, still fine. But when people, okay, so maybe Gabriel, we have to find another beautiful places to see. And it's very common to have clear days in Salema, Burgao, Praia da Luz, very close to Sagres, not exactly in Sagres, but as soon as we are like 10 or 20 kilometers away from the West Coast, it's already clear. And that's what we do. We just adjust our tour. We still have a beautiful day. Of course, with the guide, it's totally different because then I always try to show the best angles of overlooking Burgao or Salema, or these real nice place where we can buy some pottery, a real one, not tourist traps. I mean, with the local guide, there's always alternatives. With the local guy who knows the places, and like us, we have this core. We all. That's why we run this group. We call Portugal Unplugged, because otherwise we would call PP Portugal Popular, right? I mean, of course, we all go to popular spots. We know the
Yeah.
popular spots. I like the popular spots, but we have always
Yeah.
this B plan, C plan, whatever. Another thing that happens many times here in the Algarve that takes people to a deep frustration. I mean, this is the ocean. The Benajil Cave, it's not necessarily a theme park or a cathedral. It looks like a cathedral. Nowadays, if I go there, it looks like a theme park, but it's not. So sometimes, like 2 days ago, we had this big levante, so the waves and the current coming from southeast, which is good because then the water warmed up again. But during 2, 3, 4 days, there are no boat trips. And then, of course, I can imagine some people, they come here, they stay in the Algarve 2 days because they wanted to see the caves. Maybe it was their only goal or one of the goals. And it's obviously frustrating. So what are we going to do? Well, we will find a plan B. So sometimes when I take people to Carvoeiro or to Benagil and they want to go for a boat trip and they don't have a chance, so usually I try to tell them, well, maybe you can do a boat trip maybe by Rio Formosa in Faro or in Olhão or in Tevira. So we have the nature park of Rio Formosa, and okay, it's not the caves, of course, but kayaking or paddling in the beautiful through the beautiful channels of Rio Formosa could be a great plan B. And let me tell you, some people sometimes they tell me, Gabriel, this was my favorite boat trip. It was here because not everyone likes the same things. Sometimes and many times this happens, and everyone is talking about this on the social media. Many times we want to go to Almafi, we want to go to Lake Como, we want to go to Mykonos, we want to go to Benagil, and when we get there, for some reason, because the weather is not that great, because there's loads and loads of people, it ended up not being the experience we were expecting. And the truth is, there are so many other options, many times nearby. So there are options, and we have to be open mind as travelers too, and as professionals, local tour guides and travel agents. We need to know more than just doing the same old tours. I'm not saying those guys they keep doing the same old tours or just taking people to one particular vineyard or whatever. They are very useful. They are useful, and there's a need for this kind of tours. And sometimes I also do the same tours. I also go just to a vineyard or whatever. Fine. But there are tour guides that they are able, because they have a deep knowledge and they have this passion to know the off the beaten path. They love to unplug. They love to take people to experience things that they don't come on social media. The pseudo gurus, they don't know about these many times these things that we know, and we ended up providing people with great experiences. So in short, let's keep our mind open, and let's keep let's keep enjoying. And if we don't know, we should ask. And who should we ask? We should ask locals, professionals. And it's not that hard, when we do some efforts and we navigate through this realm of social media, it's not that hard to find those who really have the local knowledge and they are able to run the plan B, the plan C, because they are very also very popular on social media. This works here for Portugal. It's the same with Italy, Greece, whatever, because I keep talking with my guests. For sure you are the same. And guys like us, they are everywhere. I'm not saying we are better or worse, but we have, let's say we have these options. I mean, because we think before things happens. We visualize, and okay, if this doesn't work, I need to provide with this. So before we cancel a tour, we need to have like 2 or 3 or 4 chances to provide good tours. And it's very rare to cancel a tour, except when we have a big storm or so. But as for the Algarve too, and for sure, like you said, the Sintra, the Rovalo, Porto, there are so many spots to see. When people they see Portugal, they see just one small percentage of what we have to offer. It doesn't look like, but this is what happens, because all these gurus, all these influencers, advisors, they always go almost always to the same spots, and they promote always to the same spots and maybe one more. Well, let me tell you, there's not just 1 or 2 more. There are hundreds, dozens of more options to enjoy.
No,
Go ahead, Lino.
I was just going to say something. Taking on the closures of Sintra. Okay, it will be a very interesting exercise. To do tomorrow. It's by example to stop by Kalush National Palace at the opening time, that is 9 a.m., and to stop by the Vista Palace at the opening time, that is 10 a.m. And I'm pretty sure that everybody will be at Keluz and very, very few people will be at Beaster. Checking by the post that I saw on social media from Beaster just this afternoon saying we are open. Okay, so they need to state that they are open. Pretty much the information sometimes spreads in such a way. And then people that don't know or people that really don't want to know, okay, will spread information, say, no, there's nothing to do in Sintra.
Yeah.
The only alternative is this, okay? So that will be a very interesting exercise to do. And as you said, nothing against those cookie cutter tours, those cookie cutter experiences. But of course, there's an added value of doing what we do and to provide extra info.
Lionel, just give me here just 1 second.
Yeah.
It's not just sometimes some guides or some influencers. It's also the travelers. The travelers, when they travel to a place, they feel entitled, and they are entitled to provide also their
they don't
experiences.
accept suggestions. That's
No,
what you mean.
no, it's not exactly that. It's so many times this happens. So many times this happens. People, they go to Faro, they have no clue about what they are doing. They didn't see the best of it. Maybe they just parked in some ugly neighborhood, and then they feel that okay, there's nothing to see there. And then here they come. I'm entitled. Now I'm the new advisor, and now I'm gonna write. Don't go to Faro. There's nothing to see there. This is for us ridiculous, but people they spread this misinformation. So when people they say there's nothing to do in Sinter, there's nothing to do in Albufeira, there's nothing to do in Lagos or Toro Valley besides ABC, they are, if not lying, they are misleading people. This happens a lot. So this is my advice. Always you have to dig, you have to make your efforts to find the local guides who really can provide you with valuable information, because when the sun is shining, everything is easy, but when it starts raining, not everyone can deal with the mud. Well, we try to deal with the mud.
No, and not only that, I would say a lot of people they stick to those locations out of sheer convenience. That's pretty much it, because
oh yeah,
they know what to expect, and unfortunately, I feel like some guides they lack a little bit of that of flexibility, that mental gymnastics that is required to adapt on the fly, to research other things during their free time. We've all been a little bit through this situation where we had people who basically tried to imitate, tried to replicate the tours that we had, but they are not aware of what the history is behind the locations, how to present it, how to present the history in a good way that is going to enrich the experience for the host and whatnot. Yeah, you can basically go to a website, try to copy an itinerary, but it's not going to be the same thing. And then you arrive to the location. The location is either closed or it has changed between the occasion that we wrote it. The itinerary was written, and then by the time that you're visiting is going to be slightly different. The visiting hours have changed, the schedules have changed. Something might throw a wrench in your plans, and that flexibility is something that is very paramount. It's good to have a plan, an itinerary as a guideline, but it's also very good and very important to keep this flexibility open, having this flexible mindset to change and to adapt to the experience or to new experiences, and also leave some room for spontaneous events or for some misfortune that it might happen. So basically, for me, this is the main takeaway for the conversation over here. Expect the unexpected.
I say that so many times.
Yeah, expect the unexpected. Leave some time open for the unexpected things that happen. Be flexible in your itinerary. Ask questions. If my plan A is out the window, what can I do for the plan B? And so ask questions, or if you value your time and value your effort, and you don't want to have to go through plan A, plan B, and plan C until you find something that works for you, Well, that's what we're here for. We basically take all of the guesswork out of you, and we make it look sometimes, even though we're going through the plan C or sometimes even plan D, you won't even realize it. As you said, Lionel, people, the experience is so seamless that people don't often realize that we're going with a backup of a backup plan.
And
Yeah.
you know what? Sometimes our plan Bs, by certain
Or better than
circumstances,
the plan A's.
no, and end up working in such a way that you end up making the day of the guests
Even
with the
better.
plan B.
Yep.
And well, I have some memories about that. And one of the days that the traffic was stuck in Sintra, and still on the time that I was touring the Pena Palace, so we are talking 2022. And driving to the town, everything was stuck, like well, like very often happens. And we ended up going to Cascais, and it was a Wednesday, so we were having the street market in Cascais, and my guests just loved it. And well, then we went back to Sintra in the afternoon when things were quieter over there and the traffic had moved. But that change of plans, okay, took me to take my guests to Cascais to the market, which they loved, which they hadn't told me that they were really into that. So when we were driving in Cascais and I was telling them, oh, today it's Wednesday, they are having the street market, and they just pretty much asked, but can we stop? Can we go there? For sure. Okay, let's go. Let's do it. And that pretty much that made the day. Okay. So
Hmm.
sometimes the plan Bs end up well resulting into something even better than what was the original plan. And this is the flexibility that we need to have, and this is a flexibility that people need
Hmm.
to understand that it's needed to travel. By example, today morning I posted about Conímbriga, and I'm very happy about the groundbreaking discoveries made over there. And someone just replied saying, "Oh yeah, we found that by accident on the way to Coimbra. We didn't know about it." Okay, and a lot of people don't know about it. And I suggest
Yeah.
Coimbra very often to people, and people just say, "Ah, no, we are not into that," because people don't just go there. People don't have a clue of what exists over there. Of course, you need to be well passionate about a few things, but people just don't have an idea. Okay. So this is really where the valuable knowledge makes the difference. And when we are suggesting things, it's just well on our best intention for people to have a great experience. Otherwise, we would be just well like people kind of well driving around well or just well um, entertaining people. Okay, of
Yeah.
course we need to have people well happy at the end of the day, but well, our knowledge it's a valuable asset that well makes a difference. So
Yep.
just my 2 cents about that.
Absolutely. So yeah, and with all of this, basically another
Time
40
flies.
minutes
Yeah,
have
Yeah, here
elapsed.
we go. Yeah, so
yeah,
we
time
should.
flies.
Yeah, here we go. Here we go. We can start talking.
Okay.
Sometimes
Well,
I'm sleeping and I keep traveling. I'm still on tour,
yeah,
and
I
I'm
let me
just
just
dreaming. I'm dreaming.
let me just pick up something over here. I just saw Vitor mentioning Amaya. Curiously, right after I posted the article about Conímbriga, the same news network released an article about Amaya with some very interesting discoveries. Most people never heard about Amaya, but if I tell that it's pretty close to Marvão, that might give you a little bit of some pointers. I really need to go there to see how it is because I haven't been there on the last years. I know they've been excavating a lot, but I really need to go there to check what's going on and well, what are the news over there. But just well, talking about Roman ruins, I had 3 weeks ago. I guess just purely marveled with São Cucufat that we ended up going there a little bit by coincidence. Was not on my original itinerary, but we were right next to it. And she was just amazed with well, what she found inside, and kind of. But how come that no one comes over here? Well, sorry to say, people just go after the same old picture, and people end up people end up going back home, sharing their pictures with their friends, and pretty much, well, the place is the same, just change the actors. Okay,
Yeah, I've been there
but
too. I've been
yeah.
there too. See, I've been there. Yeah. I mean,
So
I'm just kidding. You know, the places are beautiful, and the popular places, they are popular because they
yeah,
deserve to be popular, of course. Well,
yeah.
guys, I think from my hand, it's everything,
Well,
you know,
Yep,
I'll
me
we'll
too.
and
see you. We'll see you next week.
next
Well,
week.
of course, we'll keep running Portugal Unplugged, and we are always here, well, available to answer questions. There's a lot of work to be done this week. There's a lot of stuff happening, and well, we are quite busy, all of us. So, well,
Yes.
let's make things happen. Thank you for
Yep.
watching. I'll see you back next week. Thank you guys again
Have a great
for
Bye-bye,
week.
being part
everyone.
of the Unplugged Live. Thank you.
Thank
Bye-bye,
you.
guys.
Bye.
See ya.
Bye.